it's Monica Dubé with Heal Your Mind, Heal Your Life, and I am doing lessons 20 and 21 of the Course in Miracles today, and I'm very happy to be here. These two lessons are so important because they teach you that you have the ability to determine that you want to see. You want to see what's true, and you want to see differently than how you have been seeing everything. And that's critical to your awakening because you are the determiner of everything you experience because of the thoughts that you are thinking. So this is how I teach people in my practice. I also just do group coaching sessions with people. And the key is always the fact that you have the ability to decide that you don't like what you're seeing now. And you can choose to see everything completely differently. Why is this important? Well, it determines your experience of yourself. All of the preceding lessons have taught us that our thoughts are images we've made. And so we have the power of decision to change our mind and our thinking. And why this is so critical is that when your mind and your thinking is attacking you, if you have anger, if you have fear, which we all do, you do always have an option to relinquish that, truly resign from engaging in fear and anger. But how to do it is really critical because until you get that it's actually all up to you and that you get to decide what you want to experience and you have the power to change how you feel. Because your feelings are results. They're always results of your thoughts. Okay, so the beliefs that you're holding, right? False beliefs. Ego mind is all just a set of false beliefs. And they are all attack thoughts and they are all lies. So the key to this awakening and to your experience as you're awakening is to recognize how much power you really have. And I like to say it like this, like you're using the power of God to hurt yourself or release yourself. And in any given moment, you're doing either one of those two things. And there's never a moment where you're not doing those two things, right? Because yesterday's lesson was about, I see no neutral things. So, and I'm thinking that there are no neutral thoughts. So, right? So there's either fear or love. And when you really get the hang of this, you're going to really recognize how incredibly helpful it is to practice this lesson. I am determined to see. All that's required is that you have a decision, that you make a decision. And what you want is always yours. So what you want, if you want peace, it's given you. If you want fear, it's given you. If you want to be in pain, that's given you. But when you decide you've had enough pain and you know you can't solve your own problem, then a door opens up in your consciousness and you become willing and able to receive the truth, the correction, right? Miracles are just corrections of false thinking. But you have to apply them. You have to do them. You have to really actively use your mind to choose it, to choose happiness. So you want to be happy, you want salvation, you want peace, you don't have them now because your mind is totally undisciplined. And you can't distinguish between joy and sorrow, pleasure and pain, love and fear. You're now learning how to tell them apart. And great indeed will be your reward. Isn't that wonderful? So your decision to see is all that vision requires. What you want is yours. Do not mistake the little effort that is asked of you for a sign that our goal is of little worth. So can the salvation of the world or the salvation of your mind, which means bringing yourself back into the wholeness of who you really are, salvation is just a recognition that you are already whole and you are already saved. You already are in the mind of God, which is the oneness or reality. And God is one Son. He has one Son, and that Son is you. So His will is done because all power is given Him in heaven and on earth. That's what you're given. All power in heaven and on earth. And so that's why it's so important to exercise your will in alignment with God's will for you, which is perfect happiness. And in your determination to see is this vision given you. Sometimes it overtakes you in a moment of letting go, where you feel and you recognize the perfection of your life, the perfection of everything that's happened to you, the perfection of your relationships that have brought you to your knees, the perfection of devastations like financial loss that have brought you to your knees and brought you to a place of complete undoing. And why is that a good thing? Because you wouldn't have gotten there any other way. Okay, so there's no room for judgment. It's just a matter of recognizing that you got to this place because you'd had enough pain, you'd had enough of the illusion in your mind, and the telling yourself of all those lies, all those attack thoughts. So today is all about repeating the idea, I am determined to see, over and over. I am determined to see. And sometimes you're going to forget. Don't judge yourself when you forget. Really. You don't have to judge yourself for not doing the lesson. I mean, that's crazy. That's just going to make it a lot worse. So just recognize, oh, I didn't do it for a while. Okay, I'll do it again. I am determined to see. And then it says, you can see everything differently, every situation, person, or event that you choose that upsets you. And what you'll desire, you will see. This is the real law of cause and effect as it operates in the world. Okay, so what you desire, you get the result of. Critical. When you get this, it's going to set you free. Isn't that a wonderful thing? This worked for me, so I'm sharing it with everyone because I am determined to see things differently. Whenever I feel an attack thought come into my mind, whenever I feel myself get fearful, I really stop myself and decide I'm determined to see this differently right now. Okay? So the idea for 21 is I'm determined to see things differently. So it's not just about your determination to see, but you want to see all things around you, all things in your mind. Thoughts, really, because thoughts become things. So all that's required, really, is that you repeat the idea to yourself, but recognize that when you're angry, there's a lot about anger in this lesson, you're going to search your mind for situations that cause anger in you. And sometimes it's real easy to find them, and sometimes you're hiding and you've suppressed your anger because you don't want to feel all that intensity. But truly underneath that anger and rage is really love, but you won't know it until you do this. The anger may take the form of any reaction ranging from mild irritation to rage. So the degree of the emotion doesn't matter. You'll become increasingly aware that even a slight twinge of annoyance is nothing but a veil, right? It's this veil drawn over intense fury. So when you get in touch with those parts of you that are even mildly annoyed, when someone cuts you off in traffic, or when someone steals something from you, or you think they're betraying you, those can be just mild irritations, but it can go into rage when you have a situation that's completely out of your control, and like someone leaves you in a relationship, or something happens to your child. You know, these are really moments in our lives where we have to come into the recognition of how that we don't really control things here. We don't have control over what happens to us or to our children, but we do have control over how we respond. And that is your saving grace, is knowing that you have the choice to decide how you want to see it all. Okay, so you might be tempted to dwell on more other situations, you know, under the fallacious grounds that they're more obvious. So you're going to believe that some things are more important than others. But really, every time you're upset, even if it's a mild annoyance, you're not at peace. And that's why you have to do the mind training. Recognize, I don't like what I'm feeling right now. Release. Go into a state of letting go. and do it this way. I am determined to see this person, situation, or event differently. You just have to say it to yourself and recognize too that when you search your mind for these situations, you go deep within, let them come to the surface. You don't have to search very diligently. You just have to really let it come to the surface. Stay open and receive the whatever comes to mind when you start to do the lesson. I'm determined to see this differently, okay? And try to be specific, because you want it to be a specific situation, not just, well, I'm determined to see all people differently. No, just use one person. Because when you use the one person that really pisses you off, this is the key. If you forgive one person, it's like you're forgiving all people. So you take a specific person or event or situation and apply this lesson, and it's exponential. You know, that's the nature of the hologram, because everything is, the whole world you see is in a grain of sand. So in one thought of love is the whole universe of love. And in one thought of fear or anger is the whole universe of anger. Okay, so you want to be kind of vigilant with this and start to recognize, I don't have to do it with everyone and everything. It's just right here, right now, with the one person that's coming into my mind as I even read this lesson. So there's a person in your life that you haven't been able to forgive, and they cause intense anxiety and perhaps rage in you because they did something to you that you can't forgive. So take that person right now, okay? And tell yourself this: I'm determined to see this person differently. And just let go for a moment. Open your mind to express or experience like a spaciousness in your mind. Okay, whoever that is. You don't have to judge how you're feeling. You don't judge them. Just for a moment, let it be spacious. Okay, you might even focus on a particular attribute of that person. So that's okay. But just say to yourself, I'm determined to see you, and say their name differently. That's it. I'm determined to see you differently. And let go. I want peace. Repeat that. I want peace, and I want to know myself as who I truly am. And until I forgive you, I can't know who I am. Isn't that amazing? It's very simple, but it's a recognition that your salvation resides in the ability that you have to take this person and turn around perhaps the feelings that you have for them, or at least suspend your judgment even for 5 seconds. Suspend your judgment. Say, I don't know. I don't know what this is for. I don't know why this person came into my life, but I don't have to know. I just have to know that I have the choice to see it all differently, right here and right now. See what happens. And if you're willing, you will have a shift in your perception that will show you that that person has come into your life to teach you how to forgive, how to let go, and how to remember who you really are. So if that's what the relationship is for, which it always is, every relationship is for learning how to forgive. And they're always reflecting to you something you may not want to look at in yourself. And that's where the anger comes, because they're showing you something you don't want to see in you. But what a service, what a wonderful service they're giving you. Isn't that great? When you really get the hang of this, you're going to recognize that every person in your life that has caused you upset has actually come to offer you a gift of freedom from fear and separation. And they're showing you something within you that's a reflection of your own thought about yourself. I know this because I've practiced it so much in my life, and it has really saved me from my own self-condemnation and my own murderous thoughts. Course in Miracles is really, the key to Course in Miracles is really about forgiveness, which means forgiveness of the falsity of your own mind, of the idea that you could suffer from thoughts that you're choosing to believe. You don't have to do that anymore. You don't have to choose to suffer. You can choose not to suffer. And when you do choose not to suffer, all of the help, all of your guides, all the help in the universe, the Christ mind, the one mind, comes to your aid to assist you in the release of your mind. It's like, oh, there's one that's ready to pop and come out of this darkness. And they come into your mind and help you and give you the support that you need, which is what I'm doing, which is all I want to do, is to help you to become free, because I want to be free. It's pretty simple, but it has to be practiced. And the more you do it, the more joyful it becomes, and you recognize that everything here in your life, every person in your life, is coming to your aid right here and right now to save you from your own nightmare of separation, okay? Even when they really piss you off, especially when they really piss you off. It's like, my last breakup was so intense because I didn't see it coming, and I should have seen it coming, but I wasn't looking. And I was in a state of real shock when it broke up, and I knew I had to make a big change in my life, and I ended up moving back to the East Coast where I grew up and starting this business, but all that was completely unknown back then. So I was really scared, and I recognized, though, that it was so important that I go through this period with compassion for myself and compassion for my husband that broke up with me, because I knew that we were done. Like our paths had come together for a number of years, and then we were done. The learning was over. And so it was a deep experience of release and letting go and trust and learning to shift my beliefs really quickly. And that's when I started bringing a lot of this intuitive information in to do my transformation program, which helps people to shift really quickly out of those stuck states. And there's nothing I'd rather do. Of course, this is what I wanted to do. My prayer was always, how can I serve more people? How can I help more people? Because that's all I want to do. The work that I'm doing is not just for me alone. It's for everyone. And if this resonates with you, really, thank you. And stay in the love. Really get the support that you need. Okay, so healyourmindhealyourlife.com is where all my information is, if you're interested in that. Otherwise, just do the lessons. I'm just really here to help you awaken and go through this process of release, because the more that you practice the release of your own mind, the freer you will be, and the more in service you can be to the consciousness, which is, we're in a speed up. I mean, we've got to do this work now. It's kind of urgent. Look at the state of the world. We've got some pretty urgent situations going on. And it's time that we step out of fear entirely and come into the fruition and the recognition of who you really are, which is the Son of God, the peace of God, the love of God. That's what you are. And you may not believe that right now, and that's okay too. We've all been taught a lot of crazy stuff about religion. And this isn't that. This is something where you come into a direct contact with God and your own highest self, and recognize who you are, and bring your love into the world in a way that's really appropriate for you. Okay, I want to help you do that. So this is awesome. I hope that you're really enjoying these lessons, because I know I am. I'm determined to see things differently, and tomorrow we're going to get into the idea of vengeance and how we hang on to vengeance sometimes with our own attack upon ourselves. And we don't have to do that anymore. Thank God. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Take care. And, share the video. I'd love to have you share it, and then other people can see it and benefit from the healing. Thanks. See you soon.